Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live at 5 on Broadway.com. It is Wednesday, February 6th. I'm Beth Stevens.
I'm Paul Wontorek.
And over here we have Miss Caitlin Garrett.
Hi. What's up, everyone?
She's very calm today. We have a wonderful guest today.
A fantastic young talent.
Yes. Go on.
His name is Colton Ryan. And he was in Dear Evan Hansen.
He was.
But right now he's in Alice by Heart. I feel like you should say Alice by Heart with some sort of...
Not like that.
By Heart.
No,
I don't know.
No. Okay.
Alice by Heart.
We're going to get to Colton, but first, our top 5.
All right, we found out last night that this Broadway show's journey will end on Broadway.
Oh my God! I
Oh,
just
we're
pictured
sobbing.
so many young girls sobbing last night.
Yeah,
It was
lots
like,
of
this
tears.
this was rough. Anastasia. That's Anastasia is what they do on RuPaul's Drag Race, right?
That's a
Beverly
makeup
Hills,
brand.
Anastasia of Beverly
Yeah.
Hills. Anyway, it's not that. It's a musical. You know it, Anastasia.
Oh,
it's on Broadway,
Anastasia.
the
Now I know
Broadway
what you're
Theater.
talking
It's been a big 2-year hit, and the run is ending on March 31st. I'm so sorry, all the fans, because there are a lot of fans. You know, I just saw Christy Altomar the other night at Bright Lights Big City. They did a concert of that, and she was so fantastic. And I thought, God, I can't wait to see her do something next, because this is more rock and roll. And I thought, oh, it's going to be so interesting to see her do something after Anastasia. And I didn't know that it was coming to an end. So anyway, Christy Altomar is still in the title role. She's fantastic. She was Broadway.com's Star of the Year of 2017.
That's right.
I like to mention that.
Yeah.
Also currently in the cast, Cody Simpson. He has great hair. Konstantin Germanakos, Penny Fuller, Vicki Lewis, who's a lot of fun, and John Bolton. And it's Irons and Flaherty. It's based on the movie, of course. Terrence McNally, Darko Tresnik directed it. It's a fantastic show, and it was one of those shows that people really it was like Mean Girls. They like wished it to come.
Yes.
Right? It was like, please make a stage musical out of this. And they did. And you all went and loved it. But now the run is ending because shows have to end. I'm so sorry.
All right, and we also found out this morning that this really, really large show is heading to Japan.
Well, I didn't see this coming. Did you?
No.
King Kong, guys.
I'm not really imagining where King Kong is going to end up.
It's going to be staged at a resort in Japan.
That kind of makes sense.
Okay, if you say so. They're going to set up shop in Hokkaido at a new venue created for Hard Rock Entertainment.
I'm impressed by your pronunciation.
Thank you.
You got notes on how to say it.
Yeah, I did. I got a little help. So, yeah, I guess they're going to have a 2,000-pound gorilla and, music.
But it's at a Hard Rock casino, so you can also gamble.
You can gamble, and you can be scared out of your mind by King Kong. So that sounds like a fun
and also
time.
touched
And
by the
also love
heartwarming
him.
story about the love between humans and animals.
That too. So there you go.
All right, category is Broadway debut.
Yes, Scallop. I'm into that. I just saw Choir Boy last night. And it was.
I love Choir Boy.
It's so fantastic. And then today I found out that Ryan Jamal Swain, who is in Pose, he was Damon Richards on Pose, and he will continue to be Damon Richards because Pose is having a season 2. Another thing, we wished that, just
Yes,
like
we
the
did.
Anastasiacs.
Yeah.
We willed that into being, didn't we?
We willed season 2 into
Yeah, we
happening.
did.
Anyway, we love Pose and we love Choir Boy. He's joining the cast. He will join the ensemble, and he will be the understudy to Ferris, which is the lead role, currently played by Jeremy Pope. Jeremy is leaving the production to go star in Ain't Too
Proud.
Proud. Yeah, for some reason, as I was saying, I thought I was saying it wrong.
Ain't
which
Too
is
Proud.
the life and times of the Temptations. And so when he goes over there, then Jonathan Burke, who's currently in the ensemble, will take over the role of Ferris, and then Ryan will join the cast, covering the role and being in the ensemble. It's a great
is complicated.
play. It's complicated, but they're all super talented,
Yeah,
so
that's
you're in
true.
good hands.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of musicals that we have wished into being, we finally have another one.
This is another one.
This is
Yeah.
big news. So we got the season for Shakespeare in the Park, and there's some Shakespeare, but there's also Hercules. This is Alan Menken, David Zippel, and Christopher Diaz's musical. It's based on the 1997 animated film. I'm sure you saw that.
But this is a
I love that
very
movie.
interesting. Is Disney involved? I mean, obviously it's their
I mean, Alan
property.
Menken is.
Alan
So-
Menken, I don't know. I mean,
they're
Alan
doing it
Menken
at-
is a lifer for Disney, but no, I don't think that Disney's involved. This is a Shakespeare in the Park production.
But it's the public works.
It's the public
production, which
works.
means it'll be like a cast of 300
Yeah.
like janitors and like.
So there will
isn't it- don't
probably
they mix, like,
So they'll
actors and
probably
regular
have like
people?
a martial arts group come
Yeah,
in
yeah,
and
exactly.
do
And,
like a performance in the
children's
middle
choir
of
will
it.
show
and then-
up. Yeah, you
that's
know what
right.
I mean.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
like you suddenly like the entire city is on
Yes,
stage.
Yeah.
it's
like that.
The community gets involved. This will be done at the Delacorte Theater in Central Park. Lear de Bessonet is directing, and Chase Brock is choreographing. It will run from August 30th through September 8th. As with all Public Works productions, the story will be brought to life by professional actors and community groups across the city.
And maybe janitors.
And maybe
I don't know.
That
Just
seems
like
a little-
everyone.
Let me tell you about the rest of the Shakespeare in the
Anyone
Park.
could be in Hercules.
They will also do Much Ado About Nothing, May 21st through June 23rd, directed by Kenny Leon, no casting yet, and Coriolanus from July 16th through August 11th, directed by Daniel Sullivan. More information.
Now, what we
to be
didn't
announced.
say is there was a casting notice about this.
We didn't say that. No.
Right, but I'm going to say it.
Okay, go ahead.
Because what they said in the casting notice is that they're looking for actors of color to play Hercules,
Yeah.
right? Which is interesting. So I'm into it.
I'm into it.
Now, Derek Klena, who
Go on.
has told us multiple times he's dying to play Hercules. It's not great news for Derek Klena.
No.
You never know.
I think he'll be okay. He's got jagged little pill, we're
Anyway,
assuming.
we're excited to see this.
Yeah. All right, and certainly last but not least, as we say goodbye to one Aarons and Flaherty musical, we get to say hello to a new one.
Yes, so Aarons and Flaherty, their musical Anastasia
Alternate
Anastasia is
pronunciation.
closing, as we mentioned. But they keep going. And once this island closed,
Yeah.
but they have their musical Marie, which is starting up again in Seattle on March 22nd. And now we just found out about their next musical. It's called Knoxville, which is a town in Tennessee very close to where I was born. Fun
Where
fact.
I lived as a child.
It's written by Aarons and Flaherty and Frank Galati, who worked with them on Ragtime.
Yes, he did.
Is working on this with them. This is based on a book and a play I've never heard of, and a movie.
Really?
It was a book, a play, and a movie.
Oh, you never heard of it.
The book is called All the Way. No. The book is called A Death in the Family. The play is called All the Way Home, and the movie is called All the Way Home. And actually, Robert Preston's in the movie. Fun fact.
Uh-huh.
But it's not really a title that's very well known, which is smart because sometimes it's good to bring to like. And it won the Pulitzer, I believe. Anyway, it's about a mother and a son dealing with the death of the father in the family.
Gotcha.
That's sort of what I heard. So, and it's set in 1915. And Claiborne Elder announced this news down, and they're doing it at Oslo Rep, which is in Sarasota, Florida. And Claiborne Elder announced the news with them and sang a song, and he will be doing a workshop of Knoxville.
Well, I love when
So-
Aarons and Flaherty keep working.
So that's exciting.
That's
Congrats,
great.
Aarons and Flaherty. Keep making music.
Thank you, Paul.
I'm going to go listen to some
Yeah.
Rocky the musical.
Okay. Thank you for telling us your afternoon plans. Caitlin,
What's
can you
up?
tell us about our guest,
I
please?
would love nothing more. Colton Ryan is currently starring in Alice by Heart at the brand new, fancy, probably very clean Newman Mills Theater off Broadway. He has previously been seen in Girl from the North Country at the Public Theater, understudied for Ben Platt and Dear Evan Hansen, and has a recurring role in FX's The Americans and Showtime's Homeland. He will appear in Ryan's Erst upcoming movie Adam alongside Margaret Qualley and Nicholas Alexander. Please leave all your questions below in the comments, and also welcome Colton and Beth.
Thank you, Miss Gallup.
Thank you. I didn't know all those things.
All those things are online.
You're doing
were,
a lot.
Some were true and some were
Some
false.
were fake news,
Oh, well-
which you wanted to talk about. Colton, welcome. It's nice to have you
I'm
here.
glad I got my news. I didn't have to check. I just
Yeah.
was
We try to keep you informed.
as much as possible. Thank you.
So you are now in a new musical,
Correct.
Alice by Heart. I'm
Correct.
going to pronounce it that way. I thought Paul's reading was a little
I liked
overemphasized.
By
Alice
Heart.
By Heart.
By heart. I like that one.
This is the Duncan Sheik, Stephen Sater, Jesse Nelson musical.
Correct.
How's it going?
Oh, it's fantastic. We're in the second week of previews right now. So if you saw it last week, it might be different this week. I just came from rehearsal right now. We're working on it every day, and it's terribly exciting.
Since it's new, let's just get everyone up to speed about what it is. It takes place in sort of two worlds, doesn't it?
Correct. The piece is a lot about the power of the imagination, and for that reason, we live in both the reality that is World War II in our piece, set during the London Blitz, and true story was happening back then. As you know, they were bombing London for like 60 days straight, and people would have to be moved to the underground, and children would be orphaned, and that's where we start. It was just a bunch of children who were
You're in a
stuck.
tube.
Yeah,
You're
in the tube station. We're minding the gap. And
And you're keeping yourselves occupied.
Yes, and spoiler, I'm dying, and of tuberculosis at the beginning. So not to make light of it, but
It's just the way you.
but it's just,
the
it's
big
kind of the
reveal.
premise. It's
Yeah.
the premise. So it's me and my best friend in the whole world, Alice, and we
And
used,
you go down the rabbit hole into the story.
well, yeah, we connected as children with this book and this story, and in an attempt to escape the harsh reality of like not just our local terrible situation, but also the global, what is at that time the worst of times, right? It's just the power of escaping into a great book, or the power of escaping into your own imagination and finding hope in the darkest of times.
Or
Which is
theater.
relevant.
Isn't it though? Isn't it though? So you're having a bit of a British accent,
I am, yes. I'm having a bit of a British accent sometimes.
and you.
We're gonna get comments that are like, "That was terrible."
I don't think that's
Not
gonna
yet.
happen. And you were also in one of my favorite shows I saw in the last year, Girl from the North Country.
Yes,
Tell me about
yes.
that experience.
Oh, it was just the greatest little, best thing that ever
Little
happened
gem
to
of a
me.
show.
Yes, and might be coming
You never know.
again soon.
You never know.
Keep your fingers crossed.
And so both of these shows are that's Bob Dylan music, and this is Duncan Sheik music,
Yes.
and they have a similar kind of folk heritage to
For
them.
sure, I'm sure Duncan would not be
He wouldn't
insulted
be
by
upset about that, would he?
being in the same
Same
sentence or
canon.
conversation as Mr. Bob Dylan.
Are these musicians and music that you knew really well? Is it in your bones?
Actually, I'll say with Duncan and Steven, yes, of course. I mean, I was
Spring Awakening.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the product of that generation. So, I used to drive around in the car. It was a little younger, so like my best friends, like high school sisters, would be like in the car crying, being like "Song of Fab," like doing with singing it all day, every day, that album. But I definitely grew up with it, and the idea that I'm singing their music now is kind of still floors me a lot. But
You're in the room with them. You're
every
not just
day.
singing their
Oh,
music
we're
in the car.
We're tight,
Yeah.
We're like, we're cool, So- but with Bob Dylan, no, I wasn't.
He didn't come,
Who?
Bob.
No, he did.
He did?
He did.
Tell us about that. I didn't
Sort
know
of like
that.
the wind. He just
He
kind of
came in.
came and
He
left.
blew through.
No, I mean it was.
So it's a Conor McPherson show, but they took the
Correct.
music of Bob Dylan. It's kind of a play with music, and Bob Dylan he appeared.
He did.
Like
He
a vision.
Yeah, like it was sort of this thing where it was near the end of the run, and everyone was kind of like, we kind of gave up hope
Yeah.
on it, thinking, that's sort of his, his vibe is, he's a rock star. Like you show up or you don't, and
He didn't show up for his Nobel Prize, so who knows?
yeah, well, exactly, and it was so. I mean, that's why it was such an honor. Is that you could feel it. Like no one knew exactly, but there was something weird about this one night where we had to wait for a long time to start, and
Because the Secret Service came in.
I think he just has has a group that I was
Entourage,
always,
yeah.
he's just like always following around, being like, like Mr. Dillon, I got eyes on Mr. Dillon all the time. So,
Yeah.
but he didn't come back after, and we were all like, oh man. But I mean, and I imagine I would be in the exact same position. I guess it was very, touching or maybe hard or emotional to see the piece, like that done
Mm-hmm.
with all your work for so many years, and his daughter and his granddaughter had come before and been like, you gotta come. It's like this
wow.
special piece about or to you or about you, and he came, and two of our stars, Mare Winningham and Jeanette Bayardell, they went to his concert the next night, and he was like, come back. And so
Wow.
they had like a 45-minute conversation beforehand, just like shooting the
Breeze.
Yeah, the breeze. Nice Evan Hansen grab.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was good. And you censored me. And no, but it was like he was floored by the show and was so cool with them, and we were all living vicariously through that story of like tell us more about what Mr. Dillon
That's
said.
amazing.
It was
That's
so
amazing. Well, let's go back because you got your Evan Hansen job when you were still in college. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Tell me about that day.
Halloween 2016.
Wow. Okay. So senior year for you.
I don't
you were-
remember it or anything. But yeah, no, it was my senior year of college, and I always tell the story like I'm like, yeah, I dropped out because it's like it sounds really cooler that way.
Totally cool.
But
Yeah.
I was a nerd, so I had like all my credits lined. It wasn't like a big
You
deal.
graduated.
I graduated. I have the degree in my house. Very proud of it. But at the time, I was like, yeah, man, I dropped out of school. So
Fake cigarette.
yeah, it was,
Yeah.
and I it was just like one drag and I throw it immediately, that kind of thing. But yeah, no, I left school and that was sort of
How did that all come about? Did you audition from school? You were at Baldwin Wallace.
yeah. It was just I mean, It would be a whole other romantic story. I mean, my book of like it was a long series
Chapter
of
1.
circumstances
Yes.
down the rabbit hole. But no, I mean, it was sort of like a whirlwind where they asked me to put on tape while I was still in Little Old Brea, Ohio, at Baldwin Wallace University. Shout out. And I did, and then they asked me to come like 3 days later to the city and I sang in front of like all of my heroes.
Wow.
And that night we popped champagne, and it was kind of. And then I just came and I moved, and it was probably in retrospect a little too fast for being a 21-year-old who like was just figuring out how to drink, you know what I mean? And like,
Have you figured it out?
I'm still working.
You're working on it. That's a project.
They
It's a
say
lifelong project.
mezcal's in. I don't know. You know what I mean? So.
All right, I have a million other questions for you, but I also know that you have a lot of questions for Colton. So let's go to the fans, Colton.
God.
We've got some good ones. Kurt was wondering, when you were initially making your journey as a young theater person, end quotes, what was the lead role that made you like hooked on musical theater?
Oh man! First off, hi Kurt. Second off, I resent that you don't think that I'm still a young theater person.
Younger.
No, my senior year of high school, I did Les Mis Junior. At the ripe old age of 17, I played Jean Valjean. And that was a JVJ. And I'm not going to explain how I know to do that. But that was sort of like, I mean, at the time, I was literally just listening to that.
That's a big thing for a 17-year-old.
Well, that's the thing. I just, like, listened to that recording of Jono and Jones just, like, going in on that music. And I was just, like, stripping every little thing he did. Because it was a live recording, so that they had all of it down pat. And then people would be like, how did you do all that?
You stole your performance.
Oh, yeah. It was for sure plagiarism.
That's good.
But that was most of my existence.
So where did you grow up?
Where did I grow up? Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay, so in Lexington, Kentucky, you were JBJ. I'll just go with that. And but how did you get started in
It's not going to stick.
It's not going to stick.
I
can't work it.
I just saw a kid when I went out for college. There was a kid who I was trying to be like. I was at NYU, and I didn't get in, and I was with a kid there, and he was like, what have you done? And I was like, oh, I just finished my run as Jean Valjean, and he was like, oh, JVJ, and I was like, oh my. Yeah, dude. Yeah. So, dude, like that.
Maybe you didn't have the hand signals, and that NYU needed. That could
have been. I wasn't indicating enough what I was doing at all times. I don't know.
So when did you get into theater?
Great school. Sorry, I'm not trying to rip it. I just.
When did you get into theater as a younger person?
When did I get into it?
Yeah. How old were you when you were in your first show?
My first show. I'm so nervous. I'm alive. My first show I ever did was The Wizard of Oz. That was like my.
And what role?
I was the coroner of Munchkin City, because at the time
I wasn't expecting that. Okay,
well, no, I was in 5th grade, and the whole thing was like, all of the 4th and 5th graders had to be on the stage in some capacity. So the Wizard of Oz was always ripe for opportunity because there's so many little people in it. And so when we did it, I was the only person who was a vocal major at my little like arts program, and so I was given the coroner, and it was like the first time I ever like sat in front of the tape of like the VHS, and I like it was the hardest I ever worked on anything in my life. I just would sit there and be like, as coroner, I'm like over and over until I like got it down, and then it was tragic because they said cut the accent, and I was like, wow.
After all that work.
After all, I mean, they didn't see the work. That was the.
They didn't know what they had.
They
in front
didn't know.
Of them. No, they didn't get
know.
it. I'm kind of crushed for you right now.
I'm still bummed.
Yeah,
as you
that's
can tell.
Upsetting. Well, we're gonna sob over here, but maybe there's another question
There's so many.
from the gallery.
All right. Elise wants to know, if you could travel back in time to any moment in history, what time would you choose?
That's a deep question.
Hi, Elise. I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like right now I'd say I'd try to do a little research. I'd go to like, World War II, but that's a bad answer because that was a bad
the Blitz?
time. Yeah, like what if I was just like beam me up, Scott? Like I just like show up and then like straight up right where I landed.
No.
That's making
now,
light
you
of
have
the
a dual
sad
role in Alice by Heart that we didn't discuss.
Yes,
you play 2 parts.
Very important.
Tell us about it.
I also play, when we go to Wonderland and we go to that magical place, I inhabit the White Rabbit role. I'm late. That whole thing.
That whole thing.
You'll hear that maybe once or twice in the show.
I just wanted you to say that. That's all. I just wanted you to
That
say
was
the iconic lines. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Well, you'll hear that was a very small preview.
Yeah, that's just a tiny little
gotta
glimpse.
come see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your first interaction with the story of Alice in Wonderland?
Oh.
Does anyone remember that? Do you remember yours? I don't.
I think I watched the cartoon.
The cartoon.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like mine was the Disney, the film.
Mm-hmm.
But it's weird because it didn't have any like tremendous impact on me until I was able to reread it recently with this piece, and the book is so. When I was reading, I was talking to Stephen and being like, it's kind of crazy because this was written like late 1800s, early 1900s, that kind of around that time. Don't want to get it wrong, but he had like Lewis Carroll had such a way of writing like the way we write internet irony now. Like it's all like commentary on itself, being like, and then Alice was like, oh, I thought this, and she was like, wait, that was a stupid thought. Like it's like so the way
That makes sense.
it like predicts the way we have such nonsensical thoughts with ourselves, in the way that we always comment on nowadays. Probably like what's happening on that live feed right now. You know what I mean? Like that, but it was kind of mind blowing to read that and be like, oh yeah,
Yeah, it's got a lot of layers to it.
yeah.
All right, we're gonna take one more question.
Yep, we will. Justin wants to know, what is your favorite part about developing new pieces?
Hi, Justin. I think the part about it like scares me so much, and
Well, you can't rip off, Jono and Jones.
yeah, there's no JOJ performance to strip.
You just have to do it yourself.
Yeah, it's like I guess as I get a little older, I keep trying to follow my heart and things, and the greatest way to do that, I feel like, in this field is when you're given a piece, that no one's ever read before, no one's ever read publicly before, and they just say, what would be your first natural response when you said that, or sang that, or did that? And I think a lot of times, I don't know, there's a lot of pressures we put on ourselves, but like specifically with this piece, I was so terrified of it. It's so wonderful and so huge in scope, and at the same time has this like amazing emotional core. And I just thought, like, I hope they let me do this because I'm so terrified of it, of just putting myself out there.
Still scared?
I'm a little less.
You're getting used to it.
I still get right in the face every once in a while, like right now.
So before I let you go, I want to ask you about making your Broadway debut.
Yeah.
What was it like the first time you went on in Dear Evan Hansen?
Uh,
Was your family there, or did you have people in the audience?
Yeah, it was like this, like romantic with like a capital R, like crazy happenstance where like my school has a showcase, like a lot of schools, and they just so happened to be there for the showcase that weekend because it was the next day. I was joining them on that Monday, and it was a Sunday afternoon, and we were all at the alumni brunch, and I get the phone call, and they like run to the box office with like pitchforks, and they're like, give us the tickets! Like, and we got like 20 people in there.
It's Midwesterners. We carry around
Yeah.
pitchforks.
Yeah, no, it's very American Gothic. We just kind of always have it going. But no, it was like the greatest support I've ever had in my life, where like they'd be turning around to people being like, okay, so at the beginning, usually people give them a big applause for Ben Platt when he walks out. You won't want to do that. You don't know him, but please do. So they did for
wow,
like
that's
2 minutes straight. They like just like
You
screamed.
had entrance applause.
Yeah, because there's the moment in the show, and it's choreographed beautifully this way, where you open the laptop and it could live either in an applause or not, because you're just seeing this boy terrified. And they were just so kind that like the place just erupted, and like because I had like half the audience was my friends and family, and I just like knew, I was so scared at the time, but I just knew I could keep going with that sort of knowing that they were out there, and it was one of the best days of my life, obviously. But
What an awesome story. We're going to end on that.
yeah,
Thanks for coming by, Colton.
thank you for having me.
Go see Alice by Heart, or you can say it.
Alice by Heart.
That's just another option for you. Caitlin, will you take us out?
Yep. Thank you all so much for watching Live at 5 today. You can listen to this interview in the form of a podcast right after this by searching hashtag Live at 5 wherever you listen. Join us tomorrow as we are joined by Andy Kelso, who is currently back in Kinky Boots.